And let's start with Woolworths and just review the stock again. As we've already said, we've done this relatively recently. It's a combination of a food and clothing retailer, as Paul put out. It's operating in South Africa and Australia.
Yeah, of course, people do know that since its big foray into buying David Jones and all of the Country Road and Witchery and other businesses which came from there, it in fact has more revenue and I think more profits from its Australian business. And Ian Moyer, who's a Scot, has actually sort of retreaded Australian and is relocated there. So that's where the future profits of the business, I think, really
And of course, that Australian market not doing well, I mean, not doing too badly from an economic perspective. Let me just clarify that. Market cap, 90.7 billion rand, PE of 20.2, dividend yield here, we're looking at 3.3%. What are your thoughts on this long-time defensive stock known as Woolworths?
I really do like it, yeah. I mean, on a PE basis, it does seem a bit demanding with a PE of over 20. But this acquisition that they did in Australia is seen to be gaining some traction, and we are quite positive on the future prospects for David Jones. So I wouldn't be too concerned about the Australian economy because this is more management turnaround, getting those efficiencies going.
But the economy is holding up relatively well in Australia.
Better than South African economy.
Exactly.
So that's a plus, and we will be seeing more Woolies clothing going into David Jones, and we're also seeing David Jones coming into the Woolly store. So I think all of that really will see the margins picking up.
Well, Grant is in your corner with this one. Let's have a look at the share price performance.
Not very good, actually. It was at 100 Rand a share, and since then it's sort of drifted around. It hasn't had much of a rebound, and you saw earlier it was the worst performing stock in our portfolio. So, you know, I think what's happening here is people are sort of drifting around. They're not quite sure how strong the results are going to be. They're sort of waiting to see what the real...
When do we anticipate their results?
Well, you know, it's the usual 6-monthly dance. So when is it? Is it June year end?
It should be June.
September? I can never remember which cycle it is, but it's one or the other.
Anyway, we hold this for the long term, so we're not really too concerned about the ebbs and flows when it comes to news. Hot or not on Woolworths?
Well, we were hot on it a couple of days ago when we talked about it in the grocery context, because we know that they totally dominate here in South Africa, that upper end retail. I think the value offering in the clothing space is very good. They've done a lot of work in recent years to move the price points around. They've done a lot of work on the branding and advertising, and you know, you get those fantastic newsletters from them with all their latest offerings. So generally the market's view, I think, is positive and that sales will be good. So
and
yes,
of course
hot.
You are giving it a hot